was I? Oh, okay. Nowadays, there's no discussion. So you kind of go in, you do a group, you do a dungeon that doesn't require any communication. You get to the end, you loot the boss, either the coin flips in your favor or not, and then you leave. I think, again, on paper, it sounds like a good idea because sometimes you can walk in and everybody gets gear. Everybody gets personal loot. I've seen it a couple times. So actually, let me step back and let's talk about the other system that used to be in place, which was the Master Looter system. So this was usually done for larger content where it could get a little messy, distributing gear. And one of the things that was important was that Master Looter required a little bit of trust. Because the way Master Looter worked was one person was dictated to be the Master Looter. And then they would receive all drops, and then, despite these drops being buy and all pickup, they would have the ability to sort them out to the right individuals. And maybe they didn't receive them, I can't remember if they received them or assigned them. Again, it's been a long time since these systems have been in place, so I can't remember. But basically, one person was in control of distributing all the gear out to whom it went to. So they were kind of, they were the financial guy, basically, if you want to put it in the real world. I was going to try to make a clever analogy, and I fucked it up. But yeah, they were in charge of making sure the right gear went to the right people. I think what's important here is that the Master Looter system could override luck and kind of could override luck and allow the human element to play a part. And say, yeah, you may have rolled the highest number, but this is a 5 eye level upgrade for you. This is, a 50 eye level upgrade for this guy. So we're actually going to go ahead and give it to this guy. We'll bump you to the top of the slot. We'll make a note of it. So next time there's a close drop, we'll roll in your favor next time. And, the person could either be cool with that, or they could pitch a bitch and throw a stink, and then you would take it through the proper channels. Maybe you go to the guild leader and go, look, dude, I rolled this. It was mine. And then the guild leader could either go, look, this is for the team. And I remember this happening a lot. You would have 1 or 2 carries in the grade that they were alts, especially if they were tanks or healers. Healers especially, because healers, a lot of time healer gear and DPS gear would overlap a bit more than sometimes tanking gear would, but tank and DPS gear, especially in play, would overlap as well. And so you were trying, the guild is basically going, look, we need this guy as a backup healer. He wants to be a backup healer, but, we can't take him with him to the progress content, or we can't take him with to the progress content if his gear sucks. So this minor upgrade for you, it's a lot more important that he gets his major upgrade. And that was pretty much how it was settled. And that was, and some people would get salty and some people would not. But at the end of the day, you'd usually sort it out. And it was a good system because it gave you a human element to appeal to and go, look, this is, a huge up. And this is the thing, so this is the catch too, is that you have the Master Looter involved who can then take the appeal that this gear is a higher level upgrade for this guy by a significant amount. He's going to see a huge jump in everything because of how good this gear is. And then he can make the decision. Now, even if he said, you know what, fair is fair, this guy's dice roll was higher, sorry about your luck, I know it's a huge upgrade, but now that guy can go to the guy who actually won, the guy who needed the gear, and say, hey, dude, look, I understand, but, is there any way you'd be willing to do me a favor here? And then it put the interaction on that. And now the guy who didn't need roll the gear, who's, didn't really need it, it's a minor upgrade, can now make that decision. So now there's a second chance for this guy to, appeal and say, look, it's a huge upgrade for me. I've been trying to get this guy geared up for a while. This, that, the other. And sometimes, the group wouldn't even care. They would go, oh, you rolled highest. Enjoy your 5 eye level upgrade. And then there's a guy sitting in the corner going, oh man, that'd be such a big upgrade for me. And then the guy who didn't really need it would go, oh, you know what, here, have it. It's better, it's going to do you way more good than it's going to do me. So it promoted, again, these human interactions, these massive multiplayer interactions. And so, right now, this is just defining why the older systems, I think, were good. Because I think, A, they promoted interaction. And B, something I've not touched on, but a lot of the other people have, is that it forced you into a group a little bit, into an in-group. Maybe not a guild, but it made it better to not run with randoms. Because when you were with some random asshole, he could need roll on fucking everything if he wanted to. If you joined his pug, he might have Master Leader set to himself, and when we get to the end of the dungeon, he's going to claim all the loot. So what it did was, by opening it up to assholes and abuse, it made it so it was beneficial, even more so, to be in a pre-made, structured group of friends. So again, it doubled down on the required social interaction by making the group all people I know and trust. There's no chance we're going to get some asshole who's going to try to steal stuff, who's going to try to ninja loot and need roll on something he didn't need. And that's good, because it kind of organically develops the need and want for an in-group. Again, in this case, they would be guilds, or maybe just, a healthy list of friends. Where now, you have literally no reason to ever run with a guild, to ever run with friends. And I think that is a bit of a problem. Because, again, WoW is not a single-player game. And at the end of the day, a lot of the end-game content is not designed to be a single-player game, but the other 80% of the content getting there is. And now what happens is you get people that start to get into the end game, because it is the end game. It's very rarely will anybody play an MMO strictly for, just the leveling experience, or just the recent level cap experience. I apologize again, it's very early and I'm very tired. And words are difficult. But yeah, people, for the most part, won't play the game. They're at least going to start to dally a little bit in the end game content, a little bit in that high-end group content. So I think it's important that the game leading up to that content kind of at least begin to teach you the basics of those group interactions. Now, I forgot what I was going to make. Now, there's a second issue, I feel. So that's why Master Looter and the Need Greed system, I think, were good. I think, again, they promoted the social interactions. It promoted the necessity of forming groups and, making friends and having people you can trust that you run with. Now, there's a second, and that's, a lot of people have talked about that. A lot of people talk about that, at length, with a lot more detail and a lot more knowledge than I would. One thing I've not seen a lot of people talk about, though, is that the environment that the personal loot breeds versus the traditional need, greed, and master looter systems. And some of this is a bit of the time, some of this is the interaction of the non-gamers playing WoW. Some of this is just shitty people being shitty, but I think a lot of it is actually genuine human psychology that is worth understanding, because I think, again, it's easy to write it off as shitty people being shitty, but I think shitty people take this and run with it, but I think a lot of normal people would still have the same feelings and little twinges in the back of their head regarding it. And so what that is that when under the old systems, you would get a piece of gear, at the very least you'd get to see it and say, oh, check that out. And you can go, it's rented out, I can't use it, whatever. Or it's a minor upgrade. You could at least, there was a cathartic experience of loot, especially a raid boss, because there'd be a lot of loot, so it was fun to see, 5, 6, 7, 8 items. But then there was also this idea that you had a chance. You always had a chance. So you dash over and be the first person to click on the boss. And you were a master looter, so it didn't matter, nothing happened. But you could at least see everything and go, oh, there's one item on here that's an upgrade for me. Awesome. And now you knew you had a chance. Until you'd wait till that item, so that, the master looter would say, all right, first up is, Big Daddy's plate boots and keep dicking. Okay, everybody roll. All right, next is the leather ball fondler gloves. All right, everybody roll. And then finally you'd get to the, shame apron of overeating the cloth chest piece. And then you could roll because that's the one you needed. And so now you felt like you had a chance. And that feeling of having a chance, I think, is very important. I think it's really understated how important it is. So, and then even on the non-master looter, if you're just in a dungeon, you're running a pub, you have the need-greed system, the same thing. If something drops, you can look at it and go, all right, yeah, I'll need that. I can need roll on that. And maybe the entire other group, because it's all somehow you're in a group with whole cloth. All plate wears, that actually happens a lot, where you get, you'd have an arms warrior, a fury warrior, a death knight, a paladin, and then another paladin tank. It happens a couple times, and now everybody needs fucking everything if it drops, because we're all plate wears. So, even if everybody could roll on it, they may not. But again, you would see something drop that is an upgrade, and you knew you had the chance at it. And now you can try and lose. You can go there, you can roll. Didn't work in my favor. Oh well, better luck next time, right? Because at least you tried. You had a shot. Where now the personal loot system, either you get it or you don't. There's no try. You never had a chance to begin with. You see other people like, oh fuck yeah, this is huge. Oh, perfect Titan Forge. Blah 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 blah. This is like a massive upgrade for me. And then you got some gold and some of Sargeras' dried jizz, and that's it. And you're sitting there going, oh well, fuck. And I think it feels worse in that situation to be the guy who didn't get anything. Especially because literally all four, if you're in a dungeon, all four other people could have gotten something because of the way personal loot works. I think anyways. I may be talking about my ass, but I'm pretty sure that there is a chance that everybody can get loot. Personal loot, there's no limit. There's no upper limit on how many people can get it because everything's internal on the player side. But I think it feels a lot worse to watch this guy snag a big upgrade, or even just get something in general when you didn't even have a chance. And so you look at it and go, well, when I was the healer. We wouldn't have been here without me. I was a tank. I was the highest DPS. Or I was trying the hardest. Like this guy, was highest DPS, but he was fucking off. He was standing in the bat all day, and overworking the healer, and he pulled aggro and whatever. You're going to justify it in your own mind why you deserve something. And then those feelings are made a lot worse because of the fact that, again, you had absolutely no chance, no possibility to ever pick up a piece of gear. You couldn't roll on it. And now, what's your only option? Hey, you need that? Hey, are you going to use that? Because you don't know. They were just handed a piece of gear. So before, when they rolled on it against you, you could at least kind of go, they probably need it in some way, right? And so you could kind of justify it and go, all right, well, at least he needed it, he got it, whatever, fuck it, I'll, come back later. Here, you don't even know, so now there's a level, I feel, it makes you feel even more pathetic. Hey, do you need that? Because you don't know, you're coming from a complete outside perspective, and you've got no clue how this gear relates to this guy. And so I think now what happens with shitty people, and this goes back to what started this, was this post on Reddit. And so the post was, he got a piece of gear, and it was like, hey bro, hey, you need that? Do you need that? Oh, nice way to not answer. Quit being a dickhead, fucker. And it's like, it went on, it was like, and the guy was like, so he goes back and says, I was in a loading screen, and absolutely not. I'm not giving you anything now. And so you go like, wow, that other guy's a complete asshole. But it's true. But I think his assholery is very much based off of kind of regular human emotions, which is he watched all these people around him get cookies, and now he's sitting there with no cookies. And it wasn't even like, it was like, okay, everybody flip a coin, we're going to see, everybody who gets heads will get a cookie, or he had some chance to get a cookie. It was literally like he just showed up and was like, oh, nothing? Okay. And I think it's that aspect of just showing up and getting nothing that feels so much worse than knowing you rolled and lost. And I think the other big thing here is that you may have a string where you might go 5, 6, 7 boss kills in a row, whether they're dungeons or raids, and you might get nothing. And now it starts to feel really futile because there's nothing you can do. It's not like you hit need and lost the roll and could see, he got a 68, I got a 67, shit. Or, I greeted it, but that one guy needed it. Fuck. It's just, literally just isn't happening. And so now it feels really futile to keep going because you're not seeing yourself get close and fall short. Or just, it's the bad luck in that situation because it's all invisible. It's these behind-the-scenes mechanics. I just think feels so much worse, which is then you get the guy who just, it's final, he sees something, something drops that, he really wants, and he's, 10 runs in and still hasn't gotten shit. And that's when he just snaps and he's like, hey, are you going to use that? Hey, I really could use that. Come on, man, don't be a dick. Answer me back. And then it boils over. So I think the system that we have in place now, this personal loot system, I think it really does favor these kind of personal boilovers that turns potentially regular people into shitty assholes and turns shitty assholes into, like, the worst. Because, again, it's so a normal person's going to boil over eventually after 10 losses and watching everybody else get stuff. Especially if they feel that they're doing well. And, again, that's very subjective. But, you can say, well, I am the top on the damage meter. I am the only tank because it's a 5-man and I didn't die. I am the only healer and nobody else died. I am, middle DPS, but I did everything right, stayed out of the bad, didn't get killed, didn't pull aggro. So, you're always going to be able to justify in your mind why you deserve something. And then when you continually don't get it for unseen reasons of just bad dice rolls, it feels really, really bad. Versus constantly watching somebody else roll just slightly higher, or even having, somebody go, look, I know you need this, he needs it way more. Or maybe, it could be a mount or something cosmetic, or, a toy or a pet. And so you could join the group and they can say, look, we've already kind of like, you're number 5, but the 4 of us decided to run this together, and we're going to roll that mount among ourselves. And you're going to go, that's kind of some bullshit, and then you can leave. Or you can go, okay, whatever. Because now you at least understand that, look, I'm not getting the mount. You know it up front versus just not getting something. And that's kind of what the personal loot system is, I think. It's just, in being more fair, it feels much more unfair, is the best way I can sum it up. And I think because it feels much more unfair, it promotes much worse behavior. And I think this behavior is worsened exponentially by the fact that people don't have to have social interactions anyways. This goes kind of back to the sharding and phasing arguments that, you could see, XX, Reaper Death XX, or whatever cringy stupid name that this guy's got, and he's just begging and being a total dipshit and demanding that you give him the gear and then insulting you afterwards. You could say, I'm going to remember this motherfucker because he's got a stupid long name and he's a total twat. And, before you would see him again and and he would apply to your group, or, he he would be in a raid that you've got some say in, and you go, weren't you the stupid motherfucker that was insulting me left and right and telling me that I need to give him my gear because I won? And then he's going to go, and then he's going to get kicked because his bad personality and his lack of social skills now had a real impact on him as a person, not a player, but as a person. And now maybe he will learn to, at the very least, just shut the fuck up. Maybe not. Maybe it'll make him even more bitter and worse. And then he'll eventually quit because now he can't get a group because everybody knows that, XX Reaper Death XX is a total asshole. So now he's basically blackballed himself on the server because he's got a stupid name that everyone can remember, and he's pissed off enough people that they know not to group with him. And now he quits the game, and now we are down one more asshole, which is a good thing. And now, because there is no social interactions, and because of phasing and sharding, so now you have this loot system that promotes shitty behavior by making it feel very unfair to the people who don't get anything. And again, that sounds like a complaint, like, oh, it's easier to get gear now than ever was, so why are you complaining that you didn't get anything? But again, it's because you had no say in it. It just didn't happen. And I think that's important. It's that feeling of control. And people compare the current loot system to a slot machine, and I would say that's a bad analogy because a slot machine works, and people will dump hundreds of dollars into slot machines because it's that idea that you can feel yourself getting a little bit closer. You can see almost hit the jackpot, almost hit that, almost got 3 in a row, almost won. And that's what really feeds into that feeling of going back. That's why people keep putting money into the slot machine, where the current gear system with the personal loot, it doesn't feel like a slot machine. I don't know what it feels like. But because there isn't that feeling of, almost got it. It's just a feeling of just kind of this listlessness.